There's a fight every Saturday.
Welcome to America.
It's new. I had my box wine and I watched you. Box. And nothing screams America.
That is awesome.
That's true. Saturday.
California Red.
Mark was extremely happy that we had a fight with Tennessee. So he has some content this week. If that's a proper term in this world. Looking forward to having practice this week. The guys are back in. I don't know, I wouldn't say last week of training camp, but getting really close to training camp kind of endings. But really fired about to get these guys back going and got to get it going. It's like a transition period too, no fans. No team, back to us, and then really going out and focusing on what we do and getting better. So with that, I open up questions.
The internet, one of the quarterbacks said y'all signed him today.
Danucci.
Yeah, Danucci. Yeah.
Danucci going to go get yelled at.
His source.
Danucci, we'll go yell at him. I'll confirm his source, and I'll go yell at him upstairs or in the meeting rooms in a minute. But we got a chance to sign Danucci. Obviously Emory going to the protocol. So you're going to need some people to play. We got Stick, obviously, and our starting two quarterbacks. Our first two quarterbacks don't play, especially in this last game. So we'll have a chance to get Danucci out there and see what he can do.
Coach, what's the latest update on Jalen Walker? I know you said it was kind of something minor last week with that.
So it was the groin last week. Right on the last, literally like the last play of practice for him, whatever that was against Tennessee, and it was kind of one of those moments was heartbreaking because it was one of his really great practice, for him, that held him out of the game, and then this week will operate with an abundance of caution. So today, I want to say nothing. Tomorrow will be full because it's a jog through, obviously, and then we'll get back and try to get him in the individual and acclimate into that, and we'll see where we go for some team periods after that if we do. But now it's about really getting them ready for the season. Not really worried about it, but really you just don't want it to linger on throughout. He practiced well. He probably can go out there and do it. He's going to be upset at me right now when I go and probably tell him the plan for the week, but it is what it is. I'm getting comfortable with that with him and being able to do with those things.
Along the lines with what you started off with, just what does the schedule look like these next 2 weeks? Are the players going to have kind of a break next week ahead of the game?
Yeah, it happens that natural one. I'm week to week, but right now this would be still training camp format, so you'll still see the same thing. It'll be our practices, no fans, just you guys and us. Back to our boring days of when it gets a little different. We moved it back obviously a little bit to move the time back in the day, an hour. Then after that we'll get right to our regular jog through like we've been doing. We'll get right into our high practice, and then we got a travel day this week, which is different than we've had. So we've got to travel to Dallas and go play that stuff, and then the following week. We'll kind of get to that as we do it, and we plan accordingly to what we want to do with that type of stuff. So, and then after that, obviously, they get that mandatory, I think it's 4-day, 3-day break, whatever it is that we have for the players. You could ask David Bassey later. He'll have all the details of that. But there's normal stuff that you have at the end of training camp.
What do you want to see in this game? I guess there be roster spots up.
Yeah, sure.
Backup spots. And just how do you want to see them approach this game as professionals?
This is the make the roster game. This is where those guys solidify themselves on that 53-man roster or that practice squad or whatever the case may be, trying to finalize who you keep. You guys know really well how much we value our practice squad guys by the amount of flexes that we had last year. Whether you're talking about Chris Blair, whether you're talking about Natron, whether you're talking about all the guys that were able to flex up in games and get game activity last year. And then some of them, in the case of Woods and some of those guys actually making it to the active roster after their flexors ran out, and use exactly how that format should have been used last year. And it was really great for a lot of those guys to see those guys and get some live bullets with them. So no different in this game, being able to go evaluate and get some of those guys that's going to make up the bottom end of your roster and your practice squad.
As far as there was a kicking competition in this training camp, would you consider that over at this point, that Koo's going to be your kicker going into the year?
You never want to say any competition is over, but, Koo looked great. Lennings looked good. Really fired up about both of those guys and what they've done. But, Koo's got some emotional bank accounts with me, and I'll just leave it at that. But it's never want to say competition is over with those guys.
Would it be fair to say that Brandon Dorlus might be the most improved player on the roster from last year?
Good observation, Mark. I would have to give you a lot of credit for recognizing. I brought him up in a meeting the other day, and some of the things he's doing that's looked really well. And I started to see it a little bit last year in practice, in practice squad, not practice squad, but in practice when he was giving us a look on the other side. And I had high hopes for him, and he's done a lot of really good things going into this camp, going through those games, playing significant minutes, and what he's done in practice and what he's done in the game has been really good. I look forward to watching his role clean up and define as we go. He's done a nice job.
Saw Ronnie Harrison, get those reps inside linebacker.
Yes.
Friday night. How's that going so far?
He's done a really nice job of coming in and getting with Barrett and really cramming a bunch of work into last week and having the ability to go out there and play a significant amount of time for us in that game and being able to go out this week. I look forward to him doing that as well. So, he was impressive. He moved around great, got some tackles, got some production, played well on special teams. All those things are important at this time,
You talk about C.J. Henderson, what his opportunity is kind of joining the team this late in camp.
Sure. We signed him last week at the end. Obviously we had to put him through an acclimation period. Don't want to just throw him into a game without anything on the grass. So he'll get his time on the grass this week and then get a chance to play this week and see where he falls into that equation. Obviously he's got a big opportunity to go out there and play some snaps and get a chance to do some things for us. Look forward to seeing him. Always had a lot of affection for CJ, particularly coming out that same year as AJ and how we ranked those guys and how we looked at them. So I'm really looking forward to really truly getting hands on him, and we'll get that done this week.
And Khalid Kareem didn't play in the game on Friday?
He had the groin as well. He was very similar to Jalen. He was held last week, and we'll see where he is this week exactly. We'd like to get him caught up to speed, to get him out there to get an opportunity to play. Hopefully he can do that, and if he can't, we'll move accordingly like we need to.
Anyone returning this week, Clark or Carlos Washington?
I believe Keith Taylor.
Okay.
We'll have a chance to see him. I don't think Carlos. I don't think Clark this week. We'll see. They may do some movement things in practice to get him out there, but I don't think those are the guys. I know Keith Taylor's going to come back for us, get an opportunity to see him. I believe Kobe will be back for us and get a chance to see him a little bit. So those are some of the guys that come to mind right now. Storm Norton, no. He won't be back this week. He's still dealing with it, so we'll see where that goes to see what happens with Storm.
Coach Morris.
Yes.
My name is Derek Mills.
Hi, Derek.
Morehouse student, reporter with the Maroon Tiger. I'm writing a column about DJ Williams, and I just wanted to ask you, what type of knowledge of the quarterback position and what type of character he showed your staff during his tenure here.
So I can tell you this. What was your name again?
Derek Mills.
Derek, I can tell you this about DJ. DJ is one of the guys we interviewed in the first process, the early process here, and he was such an impressive interview that we called him back and had to figure out a way to get him on board with us. Obviously he was under contract with the New Orleans Saints, and we took a grace period to wait for those guys to allow us to be able to hire him, and we waited for him. And it allowed us to really hire an extra coach because of how impressive he was, his information about the quarterback, his information about what they do, his information about how he likes to train. He had a wealth of knowledge that he brought to the table for us, and I've known him for such a young age when he was just DJ. He was Doug Jr. He was really the kid in high school when I was around Doug Williams, his father, and to see him grow and mature and turn into the impressive young man that he is now, I couldn't wait to have an opportunity to hire him. And then we got a chance to hire him as the assistant quarterback coach to move forward to being able to promote him from the work that he did last year with Mike Penix and all of those backup quarterbacks, whether it was Emery, whether it was Mike, whether it was Peterman at the time, to watch him on the side work with those guys, whether it be wideouts, whether it be quarterbacks, whatever the case may be. And then this year to be able to promote him and TJ both to passing game coordinator and actually quarterback coach was certainly a prideful moment for me, knowing where he's come from, knowing what he's done, knowing what he's been through, and all the work that he's put into it. And I can't say enough really great things about DJ and his maturity level, his attentionality to everything that he does, his detail, his work with now whoever's in those roles, whether it be the starting quarterback, the backup quarterbacks, the developing quarterbacks. He's done such a great job with all of those guys in all facets, whether it be protection, whether it be progression, whether it be dealing with the performance team and how we want to do those things. And his maturity level has been absolutely outstanding.
What coaching advice would you give any young African American coaches aspiring to be in that position in the NFL like you?
It was hard to generalize it to even just young African American. It's just really just any coach that's want to do it. Just about being obsessed about what you want to do. You know, like you tend to see that the coaches that are obsessed about football tend to make it as far as they do. You know, Sean McVay is not African American, but he's obsessed at what he does, and he was a really young coach at a young time that I saw develop and grow, and he developed into those things. I also got an African American like Aubrey Pleasant out in L.A., and he was obsessed about what he does. And then the same thing that carries over to a DJ, the same thing that carries over to the guys on our staff like a John Timu, the same thing that carried to the guys on our staff like a Justin Hood, who's a young up-and-coming defensive back coach. And like when you watch those guys that are obsessed about what they do, they tend to really develop and grow pretty fast in this profession, and it's been fun to watch. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. And I had a lot of great people around me. You know, I mention the people all the time, the Mike Thomas, the Monty Kiffins, the Rod Marinellis, you know, a bunch of really great coaches that I was fortunate enough to be around. Not to even to mention the younger group, the Kyle Shanahans, the Sean McVays, the Mike McDaniels, the Matt LaFleur's, all these guys who are head coaches now. We all kind of grew up together, and it's kind of unique and fun to watch and see.
How much do you think having DJ Williams last season specifically worked with Michael helped Michael's progression to be ready this year?
I don't ever want to give too much of Michael's credit to anybody, but, you know, because, you know, Michael deserved a lot of credit for that as well. But, like, it was certainly intentional by us. You know, I can't tell you how many times I said quarterback contingent back when we were just talking about the whole process, whether that was Witt, whether that was DJ, whether that was Zach, whether that was TJ, whether that was Zamp, whether that was Burb, KJ Black, you know, all of those different guys. That was a part of that, and really being able to take that deep dive and look into it and listen to those guys. And DJ was certainly at the forefront of when Michael got here of developing that plan on what it looks like every day and what it's going to look like moving forward. And then, you know, obviously we brought an outside help of people that can help with those things, the Matt Ryans of the world, the Michael Vicks of the world, people that can talk to them with the experiences at the quarterback position. And I didn't want to take that for granted, and I know DJ did not either.
Yeah, Coach, how's Felipe Franks been competing for in that backup in the tight end situation?
He's a dog. You know, just exclusively talk about, you know, the tight end spot. You know, he's absolutely adapted to, you know, pretty much the F position and being able to move around and do some of the things that you see. You get accustomed to seeing Charlie do. You get accustomed to see, you know, some of those guys do in that role. So he's done a nice job. You know, it was a little up and down to begin with, but he's found the steady state of what he does. And then if you equate the special teams part to it, then you got a really good football player that can provide a lot of really good things for you.
So you can block?
He's done a great job of being just nasty. You know, like I've seen him inline block. I've seen him block on the move. I've seen him block in that move position like a fullback. He's a player from your era that you would love to play with and watch and do a bunch of dirty things and nasty things.
Speaking of special teams, Jamal Agnew, any update on him? I know he's just been missing for a while.
So he was struggling with the injury that he's had, you know, oblique injury, but coming back to training camp, he looked awesome. He looked great. He was giving us all this sense of hope, and then he got a little bit of injury, a little bit of a setback. So we got to see where that is and how we get through that to find out whether he can be our return guy or not. But I was really pleased with his growth at receiver, his ability to go out there and do some things on that, and I was really fired up about it. So I can't wait to see where that ends up.
Was it a re-injury in the same oblique, or was?
It was not one. I don't know if it was a re. It was more like he injured it. It happened out in practice. Whenever he was out and those things happened, and he's getting healthy every day.
Do you expect to see him before camp ends? Up in the air at this point.
I could say yes, because you know camp officially kind of goes for a couple more weeks, you know, whatever the case may be, 2 more weeks, whatever it is. But I can officially say yes when I see that.
Would you allow me to speculate for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So David Sills played, I think, 1 series on Friday night.
Sure.
Hold on. What does that mean? What does that mean? All right, we know we've seen enough from David Sills. He's got a lot of in the roster. What does that mean exactly?
I wanted him to focus on special teams, so he was able to go out there and you know, find that role for him. You know, like when we go out, you know, versus the Bucks, you know, I don't think it's a secret. You know, we expect our starting wideouts to be out there, and then guys to be able to come in and fill some of those roles if we have to. And then it's like, what are you doing if you're on the roster if you're not going out there playing wideout. And like I got a special place in my heart for wideouts because I know that's the hardest position to do that at, right? When you go find those roles on special teams, because like everything you've done in your life to this point has gotten you here is catch footballs. And then when I ask you not to catch footballs, what do you do? You know, so really want him to focus on those things and really lock into the details with Marquise and what he's able to do there. And you know, you don't always get a realistic picture of everything, but it's certainly a good little picture for us to look at.
So that's going to be a big thing for him. If he can do well in special teams, that's going to up his stock.
I think that's the case for, you know,
Yeah.
I think you can pretty much solidify that everybody except for O-line, you know, pretty much.
Anything else? Forgive me if you mentioned it earlier. Darnell Mooney, did you?
Same spot, you know, definitely getting better, definitely improving, definitely on the field. I was waiting for Mark to ask that, but definitely on the field and doing that. So I'm not, you kind of threw me off looking to the right, answering this question, but same spot. And I'm pleased that where he's going and where we're at. And we haven't had any setbacks or anything like that, so I'm fired up.
I gave him a chance to ask the question.
I know, and you did. I agree. No, you can't ask.
I was going to ask about Terry Fontenot's injury.
Terry Fontenot's looking good, man.
I know he's listening.
Strong. He's not. He's actually busy.
Really?
Yeah, he's looking strong. He's in the best shape of his life. He can move men, break up fights. He's pretty good.
We haven't really asked you about the fight last week.
You.
I mean, I was hoping someone else would do it because I'm pigeonholing myself as the fight guy.
You are the fight guy.
But we haven't asked you about Penix being involved in that, and were there some frightening moments on Wednesday?
I was on the yellow field, and I'm going to go with the Mike Penix. I don't know who that was. But no, man, it's a competitor's deal, and you never want to see fighting, but when the quarterback's involved, it is what it is. And the guys handled it the right way. What I was extremely happy about was the ability to bounce back and not have to end practice and to be able to go continue with both teams. Not just us, but the maturity of both teams being able to do that is important. And I think that's probably the most important part. Whatever went too far, talking, chatter, whatever, hitting the quarterback's down, protection of the quarterback you're proud of, but you're really proud of the maturity of the football team to go out there and continue to finish practice.
Did you speak to Penix at all after that?
No, I mean, Penix is grown when it comes to those things. He's a grown man. He's from Tampa, like he told you guys.
Yeah.
And he's a competitor. Like he's at the very high level. He knows that he don't put himself in those risks of injuring himself anyway. So I got a lot of confidence in that way.
All right, thanks, y'all.
I'll see you guys.
Thanks, we're good.
Mark, you got it.